Hello, 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 Stampin Friends. How is everybody this evening? I am Caron, independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and your ATX late night Stampin' Lady. I am here tonight for another project with you, and I'm gonna feature um, the the star of the show tonight is going to be our Winter Scenes stamp set. This stamp set does not have what is the word I'm looking for? It does not have sentiments in it, so we're going to pull in a couple of other stamp sets to help us round out and finish out the cards with our sentiments. Give me just a second. Let me go ahead and do what I normally do, which is to um, share the video, which I invite you to do the same, to share and let folks know that we are live and that they can come join us and watch um, the the card making creativity uh, with us. Okay, give me just a minute, like I said, and I'll go ahead and I'll share that. Everybody have a good evening or a good day so far. What about a work week? This has been like oh my gosh, a week. I was the chairperson for our department's um, combined charity campaign this year, and let me tell you, was a lot. All right, let's just get started. All right, so tonight we are going to be working with the star of our show. And as we go through, I'm going to share with you a couple of things. So the star of our show this evening is Winter Scenes. Winter Scenes is a stamp set, and this is from our September 2025 online exclusives bundle or offerings for the September 2025. It is just a lot of wintry type scenes, perfect for watercoloring if you like to watercolor. It is perfect for that. We are going to be doing a bit of watercoloring tonight, not a whole lot, a bit. So stand by for that. We're going to pull in some designer series paper from the ornamental Christmas suite. We might also bring in, not sure, we'll bring in some other things. We have some sentiments that we might bring in from here as well. And then the other thing that we're going to use is our beautiful motifs. I might use this watercolor wash element in here um, as part of our process. Might use the hello, or we might use we might use one of the sentiments in here as well. All right. So I think because I started late, let me apologize for that. I did have a little bit of issues with traffic getting home from work, and I got home from work a little bit late. So I was running behind and on that process. So the other, let me bring it. The first one we're going to do, um, there are two projects offered. If you take a look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, those are the first. Hi. If you have when you're joining me, please say hello. This is one of the two card designs that's on our website, the online exclusives. Online exclusive products are not found in our catalog, so you're unable to show you a catalog. So I'm going to always share with you a picture of what it is we're working with. So the modern oval punch is the punch that was used for this item, and we're going to just use this to stamp our element. So let's just go ahead and get started, and we'll just keep working as we go. Now, I'm telling you, I'm hoping, and I did not. So here's something that I'm going to tell you, right? I did do it. Whew. I thought I had not. So we're gonna grab, I think in the picture, it's this scene right here. So let me just grab a block, and I'm gonna bring in my VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink, and we're gonna heat set that. We're gonna stamp it because we're gonna bring in our Stampin' Blends and do a little bit of coloring on there, okay? Now the good thing about cling mount stamps is that with cling mount stamps you don't have to, um, you don't need the added rubber. There's already the padded rubber on here, so we don't need the foam to, we don't need that foam for the extra support on this stamp set. So before I do that, let me grab this. My hands have been in my hair today, so I know it's probably going to be, it has lots of oils and stuff on it already. So I'm going to try not to touch a lot of paper tonight. For those of you that are joining me, please share with me where you're joining me from. If this is the first time to my channel, thank you for popping into my channel. I hope we are able to share creativity and that you learn a little bit of something from the projects that I will be sharing with you this evening. Don't forget, the more you interact with me, whether it's liking, commenting, sharing, the more uh, YouTube recognizes the analytics or whatever all that stuff is, and more people are able to find us and join us on our stamping journey as well. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's add some clear heat embossing powder to this, and then we're going to heat set it. Like I said, I'm going to, at least until I heat set it, I'm going to try to avoid touching anything because I feel it already. I do have oils on my hands, on my fingers, and I don't want to transfer those to my image. If you don't want to heat set, you can also use Memento, Tuxedo Black, or any one of the the Memento inks. You can use any one of those. You can use either our Secret Sea as well. That would also be a nice color that you can use. Let me put this aside because I'm always going to heat emboss. So you can use Secret Sea as well, or any one of the to get the fine detail. Just chase the powder to make sure that it is completely dry or it melted. I saw that little spot right there that was not. There we go. Okay. So we're going to color with our Misty Moonlight. We're going to grab our Misty Moonlight blends. I know I seen some Mossy Meadow in there and Granny Apple Green. Now, as always, when you're casing any of the projects, either on the catalog or in the online exclusives, you are free to adjust your colors If you want to use different colors, you can go ahead and do that as well. So here are my light and dark granny apple green colors. All right. So the image is not, it's not huge, so you really don't need to use the brush tip. So I'm going to go ahead to my bullet tip end, and I'm going to use that side. And I'm just going to add some color. And I kind of like to trace or outline in these narrow spaces first. That way I can see exactly where the limits of my coloring should be. And then I can go in and fill in the rest. Okay, so we've got that. I'm gonna let that dry for a second. Then I'm gonna do two different colors on my trees. I'm gonna start with my light. Again, it's narrow, so I'm just going to, and I'm gonna kind of do all over on the front tree. And then I'm gonna go in with the dark on the second tree. Again, all over. And then on the front tree, let's go ahead with the second. So I'm going to grab my dark mossy meadow. I'm going to add just a dot of color on each side. Because again, it is not a huge image, so I don't have a lot of space that I do need to blend. And then I'm going to blend it out with the dark granny apple green. Just for a little bit of shading. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same on the front tree, only with the granny apple green only. Okay, and so there we have our fir trees. I don't see, they have some color on the, hold on, let me go look at it a little bit closer. I should have printed it, but I did not. Go figure. I should have printed it a little bit bigger. Make sure I get all the colors in there that we need. But then again, we can do whatever it is we want. So I'm going to grab, let's do that, pecan pie. And I'm going to go with the light pecan pie. And I see these guys as little rocks. So I'm not just going to add just a little bit of color on the rocks, right? Because I want them to kind of be like snow-covered rocks. And again, you can do whatever it is or color them however you'd like to. Okay? And that's all the coloring that I'm going to do on this image. Okay? Let me go ahead and put these back, because God knows if I don't, I will lose them and misplace them. And I don't want to do that. All right, guys, so today is October 30th. We have one more day for the amazing join opportunity that Stampin' Up! Is offering for the month of October. For the month of October, if you join Stampin' Up! And become a demonstrator in your own right, you will get the opportunity to join for $35, but you're able to select $125 worth of products. We also have a second join offer that if you want it all and you want more like I do, you can invest $99 and get $189 worth of products. Guys, both of these are amazing offers. Our normal our normal join offer is $99 and get $125 worth of products. So can you see already um, what it is that you will get in this amazing opportunity? All right, so what am I looking for? I am looking for my Misty Moonlight. I forgot what I was looking for a second. Let me tell you the truth. Okay, and a blending brush. Any one of my blues will work, right? And I already cut a piece of designer series paper from the ornamental Christmas bundle, okay? Designer series paper pack. And if you'll see from the photo, it is the same piece of cardstock or designer series paper. The only difference is that we blended over it. Yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna, oh, this is my green brush, but how about I just use a blue brush, right? And the reason we do it, and I do this with alcohol, is just to make sure that I don't have a lot of um, contamination. And additionally, with the alcohol, it dries fairly quickly. And even though the brush is still the same color, it is clean, as you can see. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab some Misty Moonlight in color. And I'm just going to ink blend this. So all I'm going to do is kind of like change the color of the cardstock so it's not white. And that's the beauty of when there's a white or black and white cardstock, is that you can actually change, you can ink blend over it. You can generally stamp on it. I gotta change out my grid paper anyway, so this will be it for this one tonight. I try to keep it on there for at least a week. You know, depending on what I'm doing, it might last a little bit longer. But I do try to keep it on there for a week. All right, so we have now colored our designer series paper. Now this piece I cut to 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. And I'm just looking at the image. Now it might be a little bit too big on the 3 1/2 side. So I might just trim this down just a little bit. Again, it's not in the measurements are not provided for us in the Stampin' Up. So it's kind of like, if you're not good at guessing, like I'm not, you know, you try with something that's a little bit bigger, because of course, if it's bigger, you can trim it down. If it's too small, you can't add it back. So I'm gonna probably take off, and I'm just gonna use this as a guide, right? So in the picture, it seems like um, it's kind of close. We have like maybe about a ½ inch to a ½ inch. No, it's a ½ inch. And I'm just eyeballing this, right? So it looks like, so I'm going to go for a half just to be on the safe side. So if I do it a ½ inch on each side, that means I'm going to need to trim off 1, 2. I'm going to need to trim off a ½ inch from this side. So this is my 3½. So I'm going to make this 3 inches. So now we're at 3 inches. And I'm going to trim this off. Yeah. So this is now going to be 2 3/4. All right, let's take a look at what we have top and bottom. Top and bottom looks to be about the same. So I'm probably going to trim off maybe a ½ inch total. And in this case, it doesn't really matter. So we have a 2 1/2. So if we trim off a ½ inch, we're going to trim this down to 2. So we now are working with a piece that's 2 inches by 2 3/4. And that's our fit. Okay? It looks a little bit closer to our design that we have, right? All right, so then we have that. The next thing we're going to do is we have a piece of Night of Navy that we need to add as a backup. Now again, this was cut, as you can see, it was cut a little bit big, right? So we do need to trim this down as well. So we have this at 2 3/4, I think. Yep, 2 3/4. So this looks like maybe it's about a ½ inch bigger. So if we have 2 3/4 and we go up a ½ inch, that will take us to 3 1/4. Because we have 2 3/4, that's a ½ inch, that's a ½ inch. And then our side piece, or that was our side. And then our top and bottom, I think we can work with, I think it was 2 1/2, right? Yep, 2 1/2. Oh, nope, this is just 2 inches. So as this is 2 inches, I'll have to trim that one down too because it's still too big in my opinion. Nope, this is perfect. So we need to trim this side down. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. So if I'm lining this up, right, I kind of want this to have, wherever I line this up, I'm looking to have at least 3/4 of an inch. That's 1, 2, oh, that's a ½ inch. So if I'm going to do a ½ inch, let's line this up on the 6. And we're going to line this up right like so. So I want a ½ inch. No, that's too much. Quarter, 5/8. So I need 5/8. So I'm going to trim this 1, 2. I'm going to trim this off a half. This is 3 1/2. So we're going to make this 3. Let's see if we like what we got. So if we do it this way, that's still too much, right? I'm just guessing on this, you guys. I guess the best way to do it too, just an option for you, right? thanks for joining me. All right. So here's another way to do this. We already have one side kind of like almost where we want for it to be, right? So we're going to adhere it to its mat, its coordinating mat. And there's a little bit of a border at the top. There's not a huge border at the top. Matter of fact, it's probably even smaller than that. And I know that I want to keep about, well, how about we do it this way? Maybe it might work better that way, right? No, that will get me into trouble. It will. I know it will. So if we make this 2 3/4, it's too much. If we do it 2 1/2, so let's go 2 5/8. I think that'll be perfect. So here's our piece right there. All right, now before we do anything, the next thing, we're going to go ahead and stamp. And it says, wishing you peace. Oh, I probably should have done that before, huh? That should have been my guide, because I think this is too short. So we might have to adjust fire. Right? Who knows? It might fit. I don't think so, though. This should have been what I used to measure. Right? Because it needed to be as long as this. So I'm gonna have to, how am I gonna fix this? I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm still gonna use it. I am. That is the beauty of crafting, is you have to adjust sometimes on the fly. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna grab another piece of, is my sentiment gonna fit on here? That's too small. What about on here? That's just too much. That allows no room for error. So I'm just gonna do it on here. My mama used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna skin this cat. Gotta put this back on. All right, so let me grab my Versamark clear ink. And it is heat embossed with white embossing powder, which is what we're gonna do. Make sure this is inked up very well. Line this up. Make sure we have good coverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. I rocked a little bit there, I think. And now I'm just going to grab the white heat embossing powder. Perfect. And so that I don't emboss this little rocking motion that I did right here, I'm just going to shake that off and heat set the rest of it. Okay, bring our trimmer back in. We want a very close trim. At least I do anyway. All right. And really what I'm doing is I'm using the guide as a gauge. Okay. Then I'm going to trim this down on both sides. I'm actually trying to decide if I should do complete surgery. And by that I mean if I want to cut off the peace and joy. So if I want this to go exactly across here, cut off the enjoy and put that at the bottom, or I'm just going to center this. I think I'm just going to center it. All right, so there we have this, and then we're almost done. We do need some ribbon, and I don't think I purchased that ribbon that's in there. So I'm going to find a piece of, ooh, let's do this. Mm, I don't think this will work. This is our fluffy trim. Might make it a little too thick. Give me just a second and I'll see what I have that I can replace this with as an option. Guys, if you could do me a favor, just take a moment, please, to like this video. Once you've liked it, go ahead and share it with your friends and other crafters so that they too can find Sweet Signatures Creations, Stampin' Creations, and join us for some crafty fun. Trying to see if I have um, any white ribbon that I can color with my blends. I've actually stopped, or, excuse me, I've actually stopped buying a lot of ribbon just because I don't really use it so much. Oh, I found some. This is some of our crinkled seam binding, so I'm going to use this. But I don't use it as much anymore, so I end up having a ton load of it. So I really try to limit how much I purchase. So I don't really always have all of the ribbon, and I just do exactly like I'm going to do now. I definitely always have white seam binding on hand. I'm trying to open this. And then I can always color my ribbon to match what I need. So in this one, it looks like it's cloud cover. So that's what I'm going to color, if I can ever get it open, of course. If I can get it open, I don't like this. I can never find the end. Oh my goodness. I can never find the end to open it. Here it is. Hold on. Let's see. Without ripping my ribbon. There we go. I think I got it. I got it. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to lay this on here, and I'm going to grab my dark cloud cover with the brush end, and I'm going to just color it. So I will have cloud cover ink ribbon for my project. And I'm probably going to do a little bit more than I need just to make sure that I have enough. And I do color both sides. I'm going to let it dry, even though I cut it. I'm going to let it dry. That's a tip for you today. Have some, always keep white ribbon um, on hand. All right. I'm going to go on in with some double-sided tape. I'm going to grab that double-sided tape all across. Going to burnish it on the inside. Kind of get, oh yeah, let's see what this is going to look like. See, I did not do enough. It's always best to do more than you need. Always. I don't know why I did not do more than I needed, but I didn't. So here we go again. And because there's alcohol in here, it dries. These are alcohol markers. The colors will dry fairly quickly. I am definitely going to color a lot more than I need this time. That should be plenty. Remember what I told you guys earlier? It's always better to have more, because once you have more, you can trim it down to what you need. But if you don't have enough, you can't add more. You got to do it all over again. Okay? So let's see what we got going here. If we do it this way, because that's all we have, and then we adhere it here, all right, we'll have plenty. Okay, so that's kind of what we need to have happening here. And we are going to place this like so, so that we have them crossing like that. And then we'll have enough to adjust. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is it seems to me like, well, I gotta put it on there first. seems to me. All right, so when we adhere this, it's lined up, centered, like so. This is kind of what we're gonna have. Okay, so now I always have to pick things up so that I can see it from a straight on angle. Just, I'm not able to visually be able to see it. Um, if I don't pick it up, like whether it's straight or crooked. My depth perception, or whatever you want to call it, is just so off that I cannot do it any other way. All right, so that's done. And then this is going to go on a piece of Misty Moonlight. And this piece is about 3 inches by 3 1/4. I'm sorry, 3 1/2. 3 by 3 1/2 is what this is. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this to this. Mat this on here, and it's way high up. All right, make sure it's even. And there we go. We're going to press that in, burnish that in. And that's it for this card. We're going to attach it to its Misty Moonlight card base. Like we have here. And our first card will be finished. I am going to go back and I'm going to cut a piece of basic white. Now, before I finish this, it is not done. It's not done that way in the, what happened here? It's not done that way in the design, but you can also, 4 by 5 1/2. Oh, I must have cut something really off. Okay. You can emboss the front panel if you don't like for it to be as plain. You can also add a piece of basic white here, mat that as well, and put that there. But we're going to do this in the same image that the artist designed it, because we are casing the Stampin' Up! Artisan designer. Okay, go ahead and line this up. Make sure we have kind of sort of even on both sides. Perfect. And then our sentiment, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some foam adhesive or dimensionals, either one, and add that to the card front. One, two, three, there is this ongoing debate in my brain as to whether I should use dimensionals in my projects anymore. And the only reason I'm questioning it is because, really honestly and truly, um, the U.S. Postal Service has really been returning a lot of my cards, because even ones that I would normally send, because in their mind, it's missing postage. So I do have to end up going back and, probably investing more money, um, in addition to the stamps that's already on there. Trying to make sure it's even on both sides, guys. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to my overall project. And I'm also going to grab this blending brush one more time, because again, sometimes when I color, I just don't like for everything to be so stark. So I'm just going to blue it up, add a little blue for my sky. And then, of course, we can add gems for some bling. Okay, so here's our first card. I think we got it pretty darn close. What do you think? You notice they cut off the piece, the joy, and they just had wishing you peace, right? But I kept the joy. All right, so this is card number 1. You can go ahead and add a piece of basic white on the inside, depending on how you want to do it. If you add the Night of Navy as a mat, you can add the Night of Navy as a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, and your basic white for your sentiment at 3 3/4 by 5. Or you can make the basic white 4 by 5 1/4, your Night of Navy mat at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. That is the option for you to finish that as well. Okay, so we're going to try to quickly get to card number 2. And this one has a lot more coloring, so it is going to take a little bit of time. We are going to need some watercolor paper for this one. Let me change out your shot so you can see what we're working with. So this is the picture of the image that we're working on for card number 2. Now I had to do a lot of substituting because I could not put my hands on what I needed, what the Stampin' Up! Creator said that we needed. So I don't have it, right? So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to, the image that's being used, let me clean this off a little bit. So the image on that one is the one with the log cabin. Right? And I am going to I'm going to use this, actually I don't need that big of a piece, but so let's just trim that down in and of itself. So this is a piece of watercolor cardstock. And I'm just going to randomly cut a piece off. No rhyme, no reason. And I'm generally going to cut more than I need, okay? I'm going to bring in my embossing buddy again, because I am going to stamp it in Versamark and heat set it with um, with clear embossing powder. And again, I am using watercolor paper for this particular card, okay? Let it set. Grab my clear embossing powder. which is over here. Now again, if you don't have embossing powder, if you don't have any of that, you can use Memento ink. But in this one, because of the processes we are going to use, you do need to heat set your ink. Okay? I would recommend heat setting your ink anyway. All right. Now the reason I did the heat setting first is because the next process that I'm going to do, um, we need for that to be, the image to already be there before we start this process. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a paintbrush and I'm gonna, let me put the, this is my water bottle right here, and I'm gonna spritz my watercolor paper. All right, because I want my water to be, or my cardstock to be wet, and then I'm gonna grab my pool party ink. All right. And I'm just gonna, what is going on with all of my ink pads? Oh, I have some color in there already. And I'm just gonna pick up some water. And because our paper is already wet, we should be able to just go ahead and add some color. Now we heat set this because it's gonna resist, right? So that's our first pass, and I want it to be, I should have been a little bit more intentional, but that's okay. And I want it to be a little bit darker, so I am going to heat set this so I can add a little bit more, just to show a little bit of shading. On the card. Okay, I'm going to add some more water to my brush, and then just dab on a little bit more color. I'm not a watercolorist, you guys, so I just do what looks good to me. Huh? And we have our watercolored image right there, okay? And even though it is a water-based ink, I'm just going to dry up some of that water out of my ink pad as well. All right, so that's what we have. And then I'm going to just start doing a little bit of coloring. Same colors that we used. We have a little bit of a red door. So I'm going to grab my real red. Uh-huh. Or sorry, cherry cobbler. Everything in this is cherry cobbler. And I'm just gonna go on in there with my, I don't know where my, I think we're good. But I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a red door. And then I'm gonna color my building, and that's gonna be pecan pie. I'm gonna grab the light pecan pie. Now you can color this any way you want to when you create it for yourself. Then I'm going to go back in with my greens, granny apple, and because I like the color, I like the way they came out on that other one, and mossy meadow. So one of our trees we did the light granny apple. Then I'm gonna do, whoops. Let's start with my dark granny apple in the back. I thought this card might take the longest, but it might not be. Okay. And then I'll do a dab of light, a dark here, a dab of dark, dab of dark. So I can blend that out. Dab of dark. And then we're going to build on our, I'm going to do a dab of the dark mossy meadow. Right. And then we're going to go in with the light granny apple on these to blend out. And we're not going to take the blend all the way out, right? We're going to leave just a little bit of that first lay down of granny apple green, the light, so that we should be able to see a gradation in the colors. Okay. So on this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in with our dark granny apple green. Blend out. Oops, I don't want to use, well, it doesn't matter. Blend out, blend out, blend out to about midpoint of the image. As much as you can, because you might not be able to. And then I'm going to grab the light. And bring that out just a tad more. Also not till the end. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we've got everything colored. the way I want it colored. It's colored a little bit differently from the image, right? So now I'm going to trim this down. I'm fairly happy with the width of it. And we have cut this down to about 3.5, a little bit, yeah, about 3.5. And I kind of want this to be maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Okay. So on a piece of cardstock fluid watercolor, 3.5 by 4 inches is what we're going to make this. Okay. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a piece of um, Calypso Coral. I'm sorry, this is Cherry Cobbler. I don't know why I said Calypso Coral. And this is going to be, that's a perfect width right there, okay? So that's what we're going to do for width. And I might trim it down maybe about, I'm going to trim it down maybe about a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, I'm going to trim it down a 1/4 inch. So this piece is a 5 3/8. So if we do 5 3/8, that's 1/8. This is a 1/4 inch right there. So I'm going to trim this down to 5 inches. So our piece is 3 inches by 5 inches. Okay. And then, as we can see, got a little bit. Now I'm just using this as a guide. Now how I'm going to do my banner, 1/2 of 3 is 1.5, right? And this is a 3-inch piece. So I can do this. I'm going to bring in a piece of my trimmer, and I'm going to line this up at the 1.5. And I'm going to make a small cut that's deep enough. Okay. Now, you can line this up in your trimmer again and do a diagonal, but I'm just going to bring my snips in, and I'm going to cut from point, corner to point, and I'm going to flip it over and do corner to point. And we flagged our card. All right, so now we can go ahead and put this piece together. Right? It's right on top. So that's our guide as well. So I know that I need liquid adhesive from about here, and I'm going to stop short of where I need. I can always add, I cannot take away. Remember that, right? Can always add, you can't take away. And then I'm just going to line our bottom up because we know that we line this up centered and just above that line, and then we burnish. Okay, then I'm going to pick it up because that's what I need to do, and there we go. Okay, now Here's where I'm going to diverge just a little bit from the, um, I came over just a little bit too much. So I'm going to trim off a 1/4 inch, right? And maybe not even that. That's perfect. All right, so our piece is done. So I could not find any of the designer series paper that we used for the base, right? And that came from our Country Woods, I think is the name of the suite. So I went back and I found what I did have, and I have retired. This is from the Earthen Elegance. So I found this one, but I also found in my scraps this beautiful piece of cardstock, and I thought this one would work as well. What do you think? I like the softness of this one behind this image, and also like the little scripty writings in the back. So I think I'm going to use this one, even though it's not Stampin' Up, but I do like the visual that I get from using that paper. So let's go ahead and take care of that, okay? And then we can go ahead and finish our card. All right, so we also have coming up with Stampin' Up, you guys, that you might enjoy. We held our first virtual, Stampin' Up held its first virtual class this month, and so there is going to be a virtual class offering next month, and it's going to feature one of our online exclusives that's going to be released in November. And let me share with you what that is so you have a lot of the details there. Hmm. All right. So the next virtual class that we're going to be featuring at Stampin' Up will feature the, oh my gosh, Brushed with Beauty Suite collection. It will be on the 20th of November at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, which equates to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did this month. I'm at work generally during those hours, and so I'm going to host a kit together, a class together, kit together, whatever you want to call it, um, that evening, the same evening on Zoom. Now, you get this class, you get entrance to the Zoom for free if you register for the class, the virtual class. And I do recommend that you register for the class anyway. And the reason I recommend that you do that is because you will have access to the video. If you are like myself and you can't watch it, you can have access to that video anytime so that you can rewatch the video. So our card base is going to be 5.5, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. So our 4.25 will be this way. Our matte piece will be 4 by 5.25. Now, if you look at the image, let's go back here. If we look at the image, it's the same top to bottom, so that's going to be 5.5, but we do have a little bit of a border. So I'm going to trim this down. Now I can't decide if I want which part of this 6. Do I want to use this part, or this side? I think I want to use this part, right? Because if we do it like this, oh, sorry. What do you think? And again, I'm just taking a little bit of license here. I like the bringing in the red on this side to complement the red that's in this piece. Or we can leave it like this, like this. I like this piece. If you like, let me know which piece that you like, and we'll work from that. So I think I'm just gonna cut this piece down to 5.5. Either way, it's gonna be 5.5. I am definitely committing at this point. So if I cut this at 6, I'm still cutting off at C. Or if we cut it 6 this way, I'm really trying to figure this out because I do want some red, but I could live with just a little bit of red from the writing. I won't have much. Okay, so I'm just going to make a cut here. This is what I'm going to do. And then I need this to be 5.5. Oh, that's perfect right there. All right. And then I think this is now going to be, if we make it 4, I'm going to make this 4 1/8 by 5.5. Again, I can always make it bigger. Anything bigger I can trim down. Anything smaller I cannot, right? So that's what I'm going to do with this. Now, with the Stylish Shapes die, cut our little piece and we're going to stamp our hello on here. I should have put this on before that. So we're going to make adjustments again because I wasn't paying attention. Now the hello came from the Beautiful Motifs stamp set. And this is a photopolymer stamp set. Love me some photopolymer. I'm not too disappointed that we are not, the Stampin' Up! Is no longer doing, will no longer make red rubber stamps. So I'm not 100% disappointed with that. Okay, so you've been on my mind. I like that as a sentiment, and we can make that work too. Right? I like that one. I'm going to change it up a little bit. You can always stick with, if you're casing, you can stick with exactly as the designer created it, or you can do like I am, and I'm going just a little rogue because I want my sentiment to be a little bit different. Oops. Make sure it's where it needs to be and it's not straight. But you know what? The beautiful thing about the beautiful thing about a circle is it doesn't have to be straight. That is the beauty of a circle. Things do not have to be straight. No, you just adjust the circle to what you need. That's it. That is the beauty of a circle. All right, so we're just going to add our little um, embossing buddy right there. I think we're good and inked. We're going to go ahead and add our sentiment. Now we want to keep the sentiment as down to the bottom, close to the bottom as we can, especially as we changed the sentiment from the designer. Try not to rock it like I did the last time. Perfect. Grab my white embossing powder. I'm actually starving, you guys. We had what was called Boo Brunch at work today. This was my second Boo Brunch with the city, and this is an event. I'm a paralegal. I work for the City of Austin's legal department, and we had our Boo Brunch event today. I think I might upload. I took some videos of activities that we did today, and I think you guys might like it. So I might just upload those for you today. I have a little bit of stray, so I'm going to try to get that gone. Perfect. We had a salsa contest. We had what did we had? We had a costume contest. That was all today. I think in total I had like 5 or 6 events for the month. When I heat emboss, I try to heat emboss the front and the back. Perfect. Then I'm going to adhere the sentiment at the top, like so. Mm, bring it over just a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Leave about a 1/4 inch or so on the cardstock, centered. And then wherever we didn't get adhesive, we're going to go ahead and add some adhesive, okay? That is the beauty of the fine tip. It is the beauty of it. All right, now you can trim this with your snips. You can bring in a paper trimmer to snip it. Whatever works best for you. And because I'm trying to be extra tonight, I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to line it up, right? Now, I don't want to trim the cherry cobbler piece, right? I just want to trim off the mossy meadow. Okay. And then from there, I got it as close as I could, and I'm just going to grab my snips and finish the rest. Those of you that know me know that I don't cut straight. I don't do anything straight. And so I wanted to make sure that I just had that little bit of an opportunity to get as close as I could, and then I could finish it off with the snips. Perfect. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base, our front, like so. I'm wondering, I think, I'm going to do my dimension on this layer. And then I'm going to cut this in half. And then this will go down this way. And then this will go down this way. I'm going to cut one more in half. It would drive me absolutely bonkers if um, I did not add the dimension in the center. So that I don't go nuts, I'm just going to go ahead and add it, okay? Here we go. Perfect. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove our adhesive backing. And you guys, I promise I am working on trying to be a little bit more um, timely, but that does not seem to be, look at, that just doesn't seem to be my ballywick in life, right? I spent 30 years in the service and I wasn't late for much. No. And so when I retired from the military, I kind of, some of my military ways I lost. Some of them, not all of them. I'm looking for my shimmer spray. And if you don't have shimmer spray, you can go right back in there with your Wink of Stella, right? Add a little bit of sheen and shine, right? There we go. Perfect. All right, so our card base is going to be an A2 size card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I know I took one out somewhere. There it is. And then we are going to be finished with card number 2. Don't forget, so guys, tomorrow, October 31st, is the last day to um, become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator at the promotion that's being offered, which is for $35. You can get $125 worth of product, or for, oh, that's okay. Or for $99, you can join and get $189 worth of product. That is the join special for this month. It is an amazing offer. And that ends tomorrow. Our standard promotion to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is spend $99 and you get $125 worth of product. So if there's anything that you see that I used tonight that is still available, and you know you're going to spend um, $35, you guys, it is best to just go ahead and get the offer. You will be active or have the 20% off for 3 months. After that time, if you wish to no longer continue, you don't have to, but you will have gotten $125 worth of product for $35. Isn't that amazing? Guys, this is Caron Bailey. If you're ever wanting to reach me, my contact information, I just scroll that across. You can email me at sweetsignatures@gmail.com. You can visit me at sweetsignatures.stampinup.net. That is my online store where you can shop and receive any of the products that you see this evening. Guys, if you I would love to be your demonstrator. If you are in the United States, I would love to have you pop back in and subscribe to my channel. And, well, I'll see you on the next one. Please reach out if you have any questions. Guys, on that note, have a good evening and happy